Welcome to Storytime with Tallulah. Today's reading comes from r/Am I the A-hole? The first story is titled, Am I the A-hole for proving to my roommate that her boyfriend keeps hitting on me? I'm Sam, my roommate's name is Lauren, and her boyfriend's name is Mark. Lauren and Mark have been dating for maybe 4 months. Mark always hits on me, like always. As soon as Lauren walks away, Mark is laying it on thick with compliments and asking when our lease is up. I wear a lot of bodycon and sometimes low-cut clothing, so I expect to get glances, maybe mild staring, but this guy is very obviously hitting on me, and oftentimes in ways that makes me uncomfortable, especially since he is always at our apartment. I have told Lauren several times that Mark hits on me, and she just rolls her eyes. She doesn't believe me, which is confusing to me. Lauren and I have been roommates for 5 years. In that time, she has dated 3 other guys, and I have never complained about this before. So yesterday, she tells me that Mark is coming over. I was like, great. I told her if she would just walk upstairs in our apartment building and tell Mark that she was going around the block, she would walk in and see him hitting on me. She actually agreed to do it to humor me. Mark gets to the apartment and I'm just doing the dishes. I tell him that Lauren went to the store up the block, but she is really right outside the door. He sits at the counter and starts chatting with me normally, then the conversation turns to him hitting on me. Normally I just walk away from Mark, but I endured it so that Lauren would see and hear. She came in and told Mark to go to her room. Then she starts yelling at me, saying I tried to seduce him and that I dress like a wench. And I'm like, I always dress like a wench, Lauren. Who cares? Your boyfriend is hitting on me. We argued and both said some poopy stuff to each other. She and Mark are staying in her bedroom and we haven't spoken to each other since. As I'm thinking about it, I'm wondering if I am the a-hole for even trying to do this. But at the same time, I think she sucks for not believing me in the first place. I live in New York. I love my neighborhood. I don't want to have to find a new roommate because of this idiot. If I did an a-hole thing, please tell me. Am I the a-hole? I don't know. I mean, if they were hitting on you, then I think that's inappropriate. But if you were seducing someone, then it's kind of on you. So I'm not quite sure. Either you were leading them on or they were being a poo-poo head. I still don't have enough context after all of this. What's your opinion? Let me know in the comments below. Our next story also comes from r/Am I the A-hole, titled, Am I the A-hole for not inviting the neighborhood snitch or the HOA board to our neighborhood barbecue? There's around 10 houses in my neighborhood of 120 that are not in the HOA, mine included. We, or previous owners, were smart enough not to join the HOA. As a result, I am able to make extensions and I have a pool, which I host neighborhood parties occasionally. My HOA is one of the worst HOAs, constantly fining people hundreds of dollars for parking violations, painting their fences the wrong shades of brown, wrong color curtains, having 2 flags, etc. They're not the worst HOA, but they're bad. We also got a poopy neighbor, Jessica, who likes to go around and snap photos of people's violations and then post it on the Nextdoor app to shame them. She prides herself in this, thinking it makes the neighborhood better when she shames the Smiths for having a fence that's 2 inches too high, or the Johnsons for having light brown door instead of a dark brown door. Jessica is an effing poo-poo face. She's probably cost neighbors thousands of dollars in fees or forcing them to renovate. I absolutely lost it when Jessica posted in the Nextdoor app about how Mrs. Jensen, an 85-year-old woman currently having serious medical issues, has a lawn that's a couple inches too high. She obviously can't mow the lawn and was too busy to notice. The HOA then fined her $500. I made a post in the Nextdoor app about the Nextdoor app, saying that the suburban fascists on the HOA nor Jessica were invited to my barbecue at my house. Jessica went on a rant saying how much of an angel she is and how she protects the neighborhood doing her duty. And I told her she's a low-life scumbag busybody and is a pathetic loser with nothing better to do. A couple people said I was bullying and excluding her, and like 4 of her friends are boycotting my party and hosting their own party. The party happened and nobody else showed up to theirs, and ours was a blast. She apparently cried over it. Edit. Did not expect this post to blow up like that. Thanks for the awards and the comments. Well, I feel like if someone's being a poo-poo head and you didn't invite them to your party because you didn't like that individual, that's okay. That's your decision. Alright, our next story also comes from Am I the A-hole, titled, Am I the A-hole for going out in a pair of shorts? So I, a 23-year-old male, am covered in burn scars over every inch of my body, with the exception of my face, neck, and back. For context, my house went on fire when I was 10, and I was lucky to survive. It was obviously traumatizing, and after a long time of hating my body, I became an alcoholic in my teens to cope. When I was 20, I went drunk driving, crashed my car, and my right leg was amputated from the knee, and I've worn a prosthetic leg ever since. Since it's March, the weather is warmer now, and I had to go out to get some standard shopping, so I, on instinct, wore a jumper and shorts with it as it's not cold out. On full display was my prosthetic and my badly scarred left leg. I should also note I received a skin graft on that leg, so some of the skin is more visible and scarred than other portions. Anyway, I decided to take a little walk before going to the store, and I cut through a park. There isn't much people around, but there's a few out. I got a couple of stairs, but that's normal, and I got to the store. I browsed for the stuff I needed like normal. When I got to the checkout, there was a huge queue. I was expecting this, so I was waiting, and eventually a mom and her son of about 3 or 4 went in line behind me. Nothing was said, but I could feel the kid staring at me, and he eventually started crying. I then get a pat on my shoulder from the mom asking if I'd let them go in front of me so they wouldn't have to stare at my deformed leg and my robot one, as I was really upsetting her kid. I got really offended and told her that I wasn't letting her skip and that some people happen to have visible deformities and that I'm allowed to wear shorts. My turn eventually came, but she called me an a-hole and being inconsiderate to her kid's feelings. Am I the a-hole? Absolutely not. I don't think so. They are the a-holes. If you have something wrong with you, that's not your fault. That is not acceptable. In fact, she should be reprimanded for that. That is not okay. You are definitely not the a-hole. Alright, our next story also comes from Am I the a-hole? Titled, Am I the a-hole for throwing my boyfriend a nailed it theme party for 2 last night? It was my boyfriend's 36th birthday yesterday, and I ended up crying like 5 times over the events that transpired. He loves the show Nailed It, and I thought it would be cute and fun to plan him his own episode, with 2 cake challenges for just the 2 of us at home since we couldn't go anywhere due to the current circumstances. I put like 60 hours of planning into it this day. I handmade umbrellas out of paper and toothpicks for drinks and drew a cartoon character he likes by hand on each one. I blew up those big gold number balloons with a straw. I batch made blue Hawaiians since he had wanted a tiki birthday. I got all the materials for a cupcake and full-size cake challenge that I carefully planned. I spent 2 days baking. When it came time to play and I surprised him with the game, which would take 45 minutes to an hour, he sat there motionless and said he didn't want to play and that his birthday always sucks and no one does anything for him and that he shouldn't have to work on his birthday. He just wants to eat cake and this is a stupid idea. He likes to watch the show, he doesn't want to actually try it. No one cares about him. He's all alone on his birthday and didn't get to see anyone, etc. I cry about how I tried really hard and I'm sorry he thinks my idea is stupid, but I thought he'd love it. He says I'm yelling and it's not fair that he's getting yelled at on his birthday. He leaves and slams the door to our bedroom. So I cry for like 10 minutes and then leave the apartment for a couple hours because I'm hurt. I return and he cries about being alone on his birthday. Then I make the cakes myself because I spent like $100 on the supplies and I thought someone should. This morning he is crying again and saying all the same things. I told him I hear him. He didn't like my idea, but I tried and didn't forget him. I really thought he'd like it. Then I cry because I tried and I'm hurt and he didn't need to be so cruel about it. He states again his birthday always sucks. No one ever thinks of him and I don't listen to him or care about him. He didn't get to see anyone because I don't count as a person. Note, he also got a lunch party from his sister and brother-in-law. His birthday sucked because he got yelled at and he just wants one day where people think of him. Am I the a-hole? No, I don't think you're the a-hole, but I guess under these circumstances, maybe some people are just feeling a little different and he could feel lonely and left out and maybe he has some depression and maybe, I know you tried to do something to surprise them and yes, I'm sure he should have been a little more grateful for you trying to do something and actually considering him. So, I think he's kind of in the wrong on this one, but at the same time, maybe just, I don't know, obviously he has issues that you should be there to support him for if you decided to be in the relationship. Anyways, let's move on. The next one is also titled, Am I the a-hole for telling a friend she needs to stop hanging out with us? We're a group of 20-somethings who met through an MMO. We're all between 25 and 28 and hang out regularly in our city for drinks and such. One of the friends is 39. Everything that she talks about is about her age. If we're talking about favorite consoles, she'll chirp in with, You're all so young, I had a blank insert here console. If we're talking about favorite movies, then it's about how we weren't born when she went to see a film at the cinema. If we're talking about music, then it's about how all the bands she listens to were before we were born. Everything is about her age or her complaining about her age. It all came to a head when we were talking about mortgages, as some of us are buying houses. She chimed in with how it's cute we're all buying our first house and how she's bought a lot of them. However, she then chimed in with, I don't know why I hang out with you all. You're all so young. So I said, why do you hang out with us? All you do is talk about age. We get it. You're old. There was an awkward silence and she got up and left. Now some people are saying I should apologize. Well, I think if she's complaining about age all the time, that could be kind of annoying, but maybe talking about it before snapping would have been great. I'm not sure, but yeah, I hope it works out. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for responding sarcastically when offered minimum wage for teaching cello lessons from a wealthy family friend? Some context. I, a 23-year-old male, am a college student who lives close to home and I'm a cellist. I'm not that good, but I have made a bit of money on the side playing at weddings and churches in the occasional local orchestra group. My parents have some friends who are incredibly wealthy and have a young family. A few weeks ago, I was at my parents' house and mother of said family approaches me and asks me if I would teach her son to play the cello. I accepted. Then she says she'll give me $7.25 for an hour lesson every week. Now, for those of you who've never paid for a music lesson, I paid my music teacher $40 an hour, who I'll admit is a significantly better musician than I. So I said, maybe I'd babysit your kid for minimum wage, but definitely not a music lesson. Anyway, she gets really upset, but doesn't say anything to me directly and complains to my parents. They go on to me about how she didn't know any better and I shouldn't be a prick to their friend and how I wasn't a dang pro at the cello, that I shouldn't expect a ton of money since I'm not that reputable. Like, I know I'm an amateur and all, but she drove to our house in an effing Tesla. Am I the a-hole? Edit. Wow, I didn't expect so many responses. Decided I'd go ahead and call the lady and apologize for being impolite. It went well. My mom recommended a really good violin teacher. Apparently, she also didn't know the difference between a violin and a cello. Lamau. As soon as the quarantine ends, her son will start lessons with the lady my mom recommended. I don't think you're the a-hole, although just because someone drives a Tesla doesn't make them rich. There are cheaper Teslas now, especially the Model 3. But, I don't think you should expect more money just because a family has more money. I mean, that's kind of, sometimes they're usually better at financial arrangements and saving and getting deals. But I do agree that $7.25 is much too low for a music lesson, even as an amateur. You should be getting paid anywhere from $20 to $40 an hour if you are going to teach music, I believe. And if you're an amateur, then $20 I think is fair for an hour. But you know, if you're a little better, intermediate, advanced, then that's when you can get from the $40 to $100 an hour, depending on your notoriety. Anyways, thank you all for tuning in. I hope you liked it. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. If you enjoyed these types of videos, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit that bell for notifications so you know when there's more content out. Hope you all are safe out there and doing well. And if you have not joined the Discord yet, there's a link in the description. Come by, make some friends. We have an awesome active community. If you're bored at home and locked in, maybe you can go make a friend there and have some fun times and make some good memories. Anyways, thank you all for your continued support. And with that being said, we'll see you next time.